So today we have with us one of my dear friend, dear student, and very good teacher and human being, Ekta Pathak from New Zealand. She is now shifted to New Zealand,
Yes.
but nice to see her. And I really, admired her since the day when she joined my yoga course, prenatal course, and she has unique quality of the voice. Her voice is soothing, number one. Number two is her knowledge on mantra, how to chant mantra correctly, and how you can imbibe this mantra in pregnancy, and with this mantra how you can enhance the experience of motherhood. And that is the special quality which I feel like to be taken forward. And that's why today I invited her again on AYG Academy platform to speak on the topic, that is effects of mantra in pregnancy. So welcome, Ekta.
Thank you, ma'am.
uh,
Thank you so much for this beautiful opportunity to spread this awareness. And ma'am, honestly, I've seen many prenatal courses here also. I was just exploring the course. I have not seen this kind of the knowledge that you share with everyone and the joy with which you share it. Especially the mantra part, I have not seen anywhere. They take up Garbhasanskar, but they just tell that, okay, you should be saying these mantras, but not why. The way you have made the course so elaborate and comprehensive for everyone that uh, something is there to take from it. Even the little things and the details with which you have made this course is fantastic. So once again, thank you for this course. It's a blessing for everyone who wishes to join this course. I would highly recommend, always, and especially your book also. I had a limit of 30 kgs when I was coming here, but I said some books I'm not going to compromise. I am going to keep them with me. So I kept it in my bag so that it's always
okay.
handy with me whenever I take my prenatal classes. So coming to mantras, ma'am, the mantras have a beautiful impact on pregnancy, starting from the day we conceive till the end of delivery and post delivery also. And you have given in your book the mantra during labor. That is something that I have passed on to many students also, that Dr. Nutan has given this mantra. Please use it during your delivery. It really helps to ease out so many things. And they have used it and came back to me with a lot of positive impact of it on their delivery. I was saying I gave that mantra to my many students, and I told them that, see, this is the book I have taken this mantra from, and they got benefited during the delivery when the mantra is playing behind. They felt that confidence that the divinity is around me. I don't have to have the fear. And I think if I say the top benefit of mantra would be that it makes a woman fearless, because where there is faith, mantras are a reminder of that faith, and wherever there is a faith, there is no fear. So mantras
Correct.
act, the mantra itself means the one who chants mantra. The tra here means the tools to remove the obstacles, the tools to protect the person who is chanting the mantra. So you have given month-wise mantras also in your book, and you have given to even your students. You talk about Rishi Sonak's the mantras month-wise and even trimester-wise. So there are mantras which can be chanted every day to remove that fear in first trimester. So going back to the 3S that you have given, the first one being stability, the second one being strength, and the third one being space for the 3 trimesters. You can correlate these mantras very nicely with these 3S concept. In the first 3 months, the biggest fear that a woman has is of losing the child when she's pregnant. Losing the child or falling sick. Miscarriage is the biggest fear she has. So if she starts chanting Hanuman mantra, or she starts chanting Gayatri mantra, or whoever she believes in, if she's a Christian or she's a Buddhist, she can chant her own mantras. The mantras have the power, the unique quality of creating the vibrations in not only the woman, even in the sac inside. Those vibrations are so healing that they say that they can even change the DNA of the child. So if suppose the child is having any sort of DNA issues or chromosomes issues, any genetic issues, it can even rechange it to make it good for the child and the mother. So the
Yeah,
vibrations are so pure. That is why
correct.
mantras are to be chanted religiously every day, like a practice, whether you take up Buddhist mantras or whatever religion you believe in, whatever God you believe in. Take up a mantra and chant every day during pregnancy. It will only do you good. There is no side effect. It's like a medicine which has absolutely zero side effect. But do it with that devotion. Just chanting mantra for the sake of getting benefits is not the key. The key is to do it with bhavas. Do it with the feelings for whichever God you are chanting. And whoever you are invoking, whichever God you are invoking, whichever being you are invoking, if you are invoking the universe or you are invoking Lord Hanuman, try to inculcate those values within us. Those values of Hanuman, the strength, the fervor, the fierce behavior. Try to feel that same thing is coming in the child. And in my case, ma'am, all 9 months I chanted mantras. And my daughter was just 1 year old when she could chant so many mantras without even, telling her to chant. She was so fond of chanting. Every time she used to sit with me and she used to chant the mantras. After delivery also, I realized that when she was just 6, 7 months old, she used to sit next to me or lie down next to me to just listen to those mantras because I chanted them in my 9 months. So that is the
That,
power.
yeah, that's very nice. You shared your personal experience as well as the professional application of this 3S yoga model and imbibing all those mantra in this. So, recently, I have done one survey with the teacher. I have sent out. I think you also
Yes.
fill that form where we notice that how this prenatal, postnatal yoga and Garbhasanskar, including Garbhasanskar, can have positive effects on the pregnancy and the, even the professionally all yoga teacher. Because as we know, there are a lot of yoga teacher nowadays. Because,
Yes.
uh, but the challenges in front of yoga teacher also that how they have their own niche or the niche where they can just nurture that niche and then they can help out the people come to her her classes. So majority of yoga teachers like you, you also must be having crowd mainly women coming
Yes.
in, right? So, do you ask those all the women who are coming to the class that they can also bring sometimes their husbands and
Yes.
include in the mantra chanting and all that?
Absolutely.
So, would you like to share any experience?
Yes, ma'am. Sure. So when I take prenatal classes, I try to have at least once in a month or once in one trimester session with husbands where I tell them the importance of their mantra chanting on the child as well. So their mantra chanting can have such a beautiful connection with the child because as you always propagate that the child can start hearing the mother's voice, it can start recognizing the father's voice. So when the parent or the husband is chanting the mantras before conception also, those who are not, like the Garbharaksha mantra which you had given, Garbharakshambikayai cha vidmahe, that mantra helps in, improving the sperm quality also. That is the power of mantra. I was reading
Yes,
the benefits, understanding the
yes,
benefits.
yes. Can you, because our audience who are here listening to us, or later on also maybe this video will be there in our platform. So, would you like to, chant that Garbharaksha mantra?
Sure, ma'am.
So, yeah, because that will be great to, tell our audience. Yeah.
Sure, ma'am. गर्भरक्षाम्बिकायै च विद्महे मङ्गलदेवतायै च धीमहि तन्नो देवी प्रचोदयात्। Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you, ma'am.
It's really soothing one. So everybody here might be, listening this mantra. This is very important mantra for protection of your child in the womb and also protection of that mother, because both are linked together and mother is only the point of contact for the baby. So, but here we were talking about including even the father,
Yes,
would-be
yes,
father. So
yes,
you can bring them inside the class and this the mantra of it. Just you listen and you can just see the power, immediately you feel like little bit silence, after that. You don't want to talk immediately. So this is the power of mantra.
correct.
So thank you, Ekta. I really love your voice and the
Thank
soothing, soothing and clear chanting. So, uh, uh, I remember that we were discussing about this mantra class in our prenatal. So, you have also shared that how to chant mantra correctly. Would you like to throw light on this particular point? And if you can't chant correctly, there are chances of having even the side effect or the ill effect
Yes,
on the baby or the mother. So it's always better to learn from the expert
yes,
and then chant, or else just listen, whoever chanting, right?
correct.
Okay, just
So,
yes.
before I tell how to chant correctly, I want to share why we should chant correctly. Why is it important that the chanting is pure? So, even before that, let me share that wrong chanting can definitely lead to ill effects. But if your intentions are pure, if somebody is chanting with a very pure heart and devotion, it acts like a lullaby to, like when a mother is singing a lullaby to a child, the child doesn't know the meaning, the rag, the swara, but it just enjoys the bhavas, the feelings of it. So same way, in case you're making mistakes also, try not to make mistake, but in case by chance you make a mistake, don't be scared if your bhavas are pure.
Yeah, means unknowingly,
Yeah,
unknowingly. Yeah,
unknowingly
yeah.
it's okay, but we should always make an effort to chant the mantras correctly, because even a small or a small letter can completely change the meaning of the mantra, which is a very easy example I gave, uh, of Gayatri mantra itself. In the end, when we are saying very confidently, Dhiyo yo na prachodayat. Sometimes we don't even realize there is a visarg in between, which has to be chanted like f, a small f sound, because after the visarg there is a p sound, so it becomes f. The visarg is not sounded like her. So when we chant that mantra incorrectly, it becomes, Dear Lord, do not give me intellect. It becomes exactly the opposite. While we are trying to ask for the intellect to the child, to ourselves, but because we are constantly chanting it the reverse, the effect of it are our prarabdha karma. We are accumulating that karma of wrong chanting and wrong, accumulation of that effect on ourselves. So instead of, being too careless, before we pick up any mantra, whether it is given by our guru or it is taken by ourselves, like there are mantras like Mahamrityunjay mantra, Gayatri mantra, these can be chanted on our own. Om Namah Shivaya. These are simple mantras which we can chant. But if we chant them correctly, we put little efforts to chant them correctly, the effects will be huge. Like if you're spending 10 minutes of mantras, your efforts and time will not go waste. It will give you the benefits of so much of, chaos free life, calmness, fearlessness, fierce nature to you and the child. So in pregnancy, that is why chanting of the mantras correctly is highly important, because you're seeking something for the own child for the whole life. So it has to be correct. Ashtavakra knew all the four Vedas in the womb itself, because the mother was constantly learning the Vedas. So he's one example where he even wrote, the conversation between Raja Janak and Ashtavakra. The whole
Ashtavakra Geeta.
Ashtavakra,
It's Ashtavakra Geeta.
yes.
Yeah,
So the whole,
he is the He was the advisor of
Yes,
Raja Janak. Yeah, yeah.
yes,
So
exactly.
people, means we know we can casually, chat with each other because we have studied in
Yes,
the course. But people who are just listening first time, so for them we need to
yes,
give a little bit
yes,
background. Who is Ashtavakra and
right,
sage Ashtavakra?
right. So
Yeah, go
Ashtavakra
ahead.
Geeta was written by him purely on the basis of what his mother chanted, learned during the pregnancy. He did not take any formal education for that. But during those 9 months itself, he became the pure knower of the Vedas and scriptures just because of his mother. So that is the power of chanting mantras in the womb. And it is said about mantras that first we need to learn the chanting and then understand the meaning. It is given by the sage Panini himself that he is the main composer of most of this the scripts of the mantras and the meanings of and the grammar part of it. So where he has mentioned that if we chant them correctly, he says Giti Shigri Shira Kampi Yatha Likhita Pataka Anarthagno Shedke Padakadamaha, which means we have to make sure that 6 qualities or 6 impurities while chanting should not be there, which means it should not be sung, it should not be chanted with a very feeble voice, it should be chanted with a pure heart, understanding the meaning. It should not be chanted like how you just read through, like just reading from the books, because listening the mantras is very important, as you mentioned earlier. And most importantly, he has mentioned that there are 3 ways to know whether you are chanting correctly or not. First is akshar shuddhi, swara shuddhi, and matra shuddhi. So akshar shuddhi is pronunciation of the letters. Like many people say brahma, brahmarpanam, when they are offering food, brahmarpanam. But it's if you say brahma, it becomes illusion. And when we say brahma, it becomes creation, the creator, the Lord Brahma. So small akshar shuddhi can make a big difference in the meaning. So akshar shuddhi is one aspect of it. Then matra shuddhi. So whether it is small e matra or big e matra or oh, like there is nothing like it's not Kaivalya, it's Kaivalya in Sanskrit. So a double A becomes Kai, not A. So many people say like Sehena Vavatu, Sehena Bhunatu. It is not Sehena because Sehena means tolerating and Saha means together. So Sahana Vavatu. So all these small things like this letter and the swara that we, and now comes to swara. Swara is whether we have to take a high note here or we have to take a low note. So intonation of the chant is also very important. If we take care of these 3 aspects, our chanting will be shuddha. So that is about the correct.
That's really, really important thing, which it completely changes meaning. If you just say Sehana and Sahana,
Exactly.
kind of thing.
Yes.
So these are the communication and your practice, practice after learning from the teacher. Then you should keep practicing and then only directly go and teach. Otherwise, what happen nowadays? People just get certificate. They just come only to get the certificate
Correct.
in the course, and they immediately want to start their practice.
Start. Yeah.
See, so it's always better that these are some kind of courses, or the knowledge is not just for to increase your business. It's going to be increased obviously, because that is a by default result is going to come. But you need to have a patience and you need to have a consistent practice of what you learned to keep on apply on the small crowd, or maybe within your family or on yourself, and then you can share it. Okay.
Correct.
Let's move ahead. Okay, let me just first ask our audience if they have any question. You can drop in the comment box. We can take up in our conversation. Uh, but before we get your question, I have some questions which has been planned.
Yes.
So till now, what we have learned from Ekta is just to the summarize what exactly mantra means, then how it benefits to the pregnant woman and the fetus, and how you can include your partner also, so that you can also communicate together with the baby, and how mantra is effective to eliminate the fear of pregnancy and enhance the faith in your self, so that faith can remove fears. That is very nice sentence used by Ekta. I love that sentence. Then we come across that she shared, okay, she has got a lot of mantra which I have shared in my book, that is the ultimate guide of Garbhasanskar, where it is the mantra which is given at the time of childbirth, which mantra should be chanted. So last trimester, and been given by me, Ekta. It's means I have just written, but I have just mentioned it is referenced by Acharya Charak. So I just try to put it in the book so that the
Yeah.
people can know about it and can use. So even there is a mantra, our Acharya or sages have already explained all these guidelines and the skill to strengthen that pregnancy effect and the childbirth effect also, and offer that blessing to the child while coming in this universe. That's a beautiful mantra. I really love that Acharya Charak mantra which has been given. Then we have shared, okay, how you can even protect your child from the womb, ill effect of the environment or any kind of if things goes in the system of mother, and how child can be protected. So Garbharaksha mantra, even Ekta has sung that, chanted that mantra, not sung, chanted that mantra. You can listen that if you have joined later on in the video. So far we have covered this much. Now we are moving ahead. That what is the correct time to chant mantra? We have learned, okay, how to chant correctly. So little bit meaning also, if you chant in a wrong way, it can give you a different meaning. So you need to keep that six important tips or six signs how you can understand that you are chanting correctly or not. But then when to chant? What is the correct time? When that time is more effective? Is there
Ma'am,
any
yes,
anything?
ideally it is the Brahma Muhurtam. Of course, the Ananda Vela we say in Punjabi and different languages, different timing, because it is the most sattvic timing from 4 o'clock till 6 o'clock in the morning. The rishis and the sages in the Himalayas are also doing their meditation at that time, and the positivity which is being emanated at that time is of different level. But as a pregnant woman, it is difficult to wake up so early at times, although one should always strive to do that, to wake up early and chant. But just in case somebody cannot, most ideal to chant as soon as one is awake. When I say awake, there is a difference between waking up and being awake. Being awake with all the five sense organs, just chanting early in the morning can completely change the day and the way the day will go, because it is like chanting the positive affirmations. Mantras are, in today's world we say, fancy affirmations and switch words and all that. Mantras are that only, because if you see, most of the mantras are about our own well-being. We are just asking and that we deserve this well-being. We ask for that well-being, like Smita has asked this question: what all mantras can we chant? So my suggestion is, ma'am has given all the mantras in her course and in her books. You can refer to them. But if you ask me daily mantras, it can be any mantra which soothes your senses. Whether if you're a Buddhist, you can chant Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. But the most important of all the mantras, whether you are whichever religion you are, is Om chanting. And if we chant 21 times Om, I've also given on my page why it is 21 times.
Yes,
Because
I was
21 times,
about to tell that if you want to understand this chanting of Om, Ekta recently uploaded the video on Om chanting, how the effects of A U M is there, and you can definitely follow her and you can learn from that particular video.
right.
Yeah.
So Om is one chant which should be inculcated every day, because however the outer environment of your house is during pregnancy, it can completely change your inner world by just chanting Om, because it can make your mind completely in a sattvic mode. The moment you start first Om, and when you finish the last Om in 21 times, you will understand how much change it has created in a pregnant woman. So Om is one chant that I would recommend every day. Otherwise, you can pick up as given in her course are extremely beneficial, and those mantras are actually given by sages earlier, and she has just mentioned them. As she said, all these mantras are given thousands of years back, so you can know how important they are for a pregnant woman, because thousands of years back, without sonography machine, they knew that how the fetus is in first month, second month, everything. So you know that they were having that chakshu, jnana chakshu. They knew the wisdom that how to keep the womb protected, how the aura can be protected with these mantras. So no harm can happen to a pregnant woman if she starts chanting the mantras, and that is the power of mantra chanting.
Okay, so you said it's always better to chant mantra in early in the morning, but as in pregnancy, we know that there are a lot of fluctuations happens due to the hormonal shift, 360-degree hormonal shifts happens in the body, and so she may not be able to wake up early in the morning. That is fine. Just you need to have that devotional state of
Yes,
mind and clean state of body, and just make that affirmation and just maintain that time regularly,
correct,
and have your own mat also where you can just exchange that energy,
right,
and that will definitely help you. There is not necessary, Smita, like you need to have so many mantra each day. It's always better if you practice one thing 1,000 times, you master it, and it really gives you more effects than chanting so many things and remembering nothing. So that I always emphasize in my course also. Also in book, if you want to know about each trimester wise which mantra, so that is clearly mentioned. Okay, so moving ahead, anything uh, which the message, because it's already 30 minutes
okay,
we are going to
yeah.
finish. So what is that unique message you would like to give would be parents or the pregnant women in terms
Yes.
of mantra and its effect, and how they can start practicing?
So, ma'am, every mother wants to give the gift, the best life, the best of everything. Garbhasanskar is the best gift a mother can give to the child, because 80% of the brain development of the child happens in the womb. So, mantras are the way where the child is already aware of the spiritual, that it is a spiritual being. It is aware of its true identity, that I'm not the body, I'm not the mind. If we keep chanting mantras, not only the physical and the mental benefits that we spoke about, we are doing a huge favor to the soul of the child inside. The child will retain its spiritual essence for a very prolonged time if we keep chanting mantras during pregnancy. Plus, the intelligence level has been proven as per the research that we can increase the intelligence of a child by 17 points by just inculcating the habit of chanting mantras during pregnancy and after pregnancy also, like postnatal period also. Like my daughter, whenever I used to chant Om, she used to just calm down. If at night she was too cranky, I used to chant Om and she used to calm down, because that connection that we develop with the child with mantras is beautiful. So mantras will not just help the in pregnancy physically, mentally, but it will also do a huge favor to the child spiritually. So that's
Okay.
the message.
One thing I forgot to ask, the important, difference between music and mantra.
Sure. Ma'am, music has very good effects because it has different ragas. So music is also important, but music and mantras are totally different. Totally different in what context? Mantras have a fixed meter. Like Gayatri mantra has a Gayatri meter. It's called the chandas. So they have a fixed meter. The effect of mantras is mostly very soothing. Like music can have sometimes, if you listen to loud music, it can have a kind of distressing or a negative feeling. Mantras can never have a negative feeling if we have listened to the right chant. For example, if we listen to the right Om or the right Mahamrityunjay mantra, it will always have a positive impact. But music can have both positive and negative effect depending on the kind of music we choose. So during pregnancy, we have to be extra cautious of what kind of music are we choosing, because each music note has a chemical reaction in the brain. So it has to be always the right music. That is the difference. And music is something that connects to the heart, mainly to the heart, but mantras are which are super beneficial for the brain. They send electromagnetic waves to the neurons, and each neuron in the brain starts getting activated because of the mantras. Because mantras, when we chant, the way each tongue connects to the upper palate, how many times, like 24 times in Gayatri mantra. So the way it activates each and every hormone, this HPO axis that you talk about, the way it impacts that is beautiful, because it completely fixes the endocrine system and the exocrine system of a pregnant woman. So that is the difference.
So HPO axis means hypothalamus, pituitary gland, and organ. And here, in relation to reproductive system or in pregnancy related thing, it's your uterus means your reproductive system is the organ where baby stays. So it's a beautiful connection, Ekta. Really nice to talk to you and connect with you again.
Same.
This book has already published, which is The Ultimate Guide to Garbhasanskar. If you want to know more, you can have this book. And thank you, Ekta, carrying this book to New Zealand and making the space for this book and continuing your, this application of 3S yoga module in your practice. It's really good to connect. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
And thanks, Ekta, once again.